Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 333 of the Tan J-Man Show. It's Monday night. It's April 3rd, 2023. Start of a new month for the Tan J-Man Show. It's feeling like spring outside. Spring's in the air, so you know it's Masters Week. I got the green and yellow on today. It's a Sonics hat, but it's Masters colors. So we're rolling with it. What's going on, J-Man?
You know, for the first time this year, it's supposed to hit 70 degrees. It's supposed to hit 70 degrees tomorrow, and I have never been happier.
We'll take it, won't we?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
We will take it. We will take it. It's baseball started. Like I said, Masters Week. Men's National Championships tonight. The one everybody predicted between UCONN and San Diego State. We'll get into talking about all that and much more later on. But first, do you have a birdie or bogey question ready for me this week? I believe
I do.
I have a 2-stroke lead after last week.
You are a +2 to +4. Tonight, either UConn's Dan Hurley or San Diego State's Brian Dutcher will become the fourth head coach in the last 20 seasons to win a title within their first 4 NCAA tournament appearances with the school. Can you name the other 3 coaches to have done this?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Tonight,
yes.
Either Dan Hurley or Brian Dutcher will become the fourth head coach in the last 20 seasons to win a title within their first 4 NCAA tournament appearances with the school.
Okay.
Can you name the other 3?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's a toughie, but you have a shot because, you go back 20 years and you can just think of the national champions. And,
right.
You should be able to name each coach or come close to naming each coach.
True.
In fact, if you couldn't name each coach, there'd be something wrong.
True.
That's
true.
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine. I didn't have the read pulled up, and I thought I had it memorized, and I did not have it memorized. So I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Story of J-Man's life.
Well, what a start. What a start. We're the pros of all pros here at podcasting.
Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine with a casual... Start over. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Arlington Public House. Arlington Public House has upscale cuisine and cocktails with a casual atmosphere located 703 Main Street in Rochester, Indiana. They had a blackened grouper sandwich, which is an upcoming menu item. It is pan-seared, topped with mandarin orange slaw, and finished with our signature firecracker sauce served on a brioche bun and paired with fries. So it's coming up.
Sounds good to me.
But it is coming up.
Sounds good to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What do you want to start with?
Let's start with the national championship game. Final 4 recap. We were watching the games together along with all of our buddies, celebrating one of our buddies' bachelor parties, and I kind of made the comment early in the night, one game's going to be good, one game's not going to be so good, and that's kind of how it turned out. Man, that first one had a little bit of everything in it.
Yeah.
San Diego State jumps out to a double-digit lead. We're thinking, man, they're going to crush Florida Atlantic. Then by halftime, Florida Atlantic had fought back and had a 6-point lead. Florida Atlantic stretches in the second half to get double-digit lead. But then we're like, don't count San Diego State out yet. They were down big to Creighton second half, down decently big to Alabama in the second half, came back, won both those games. They kept chipping away, thought their free throw woes were going to bite them in the end, but they get the defense stop when they needed it, 8 seconds to go. Thought maybe they should use their one last timeout they had remaining because it looked like the guy's name's escaping me, but he was kind of in no man's land with nowhere to go. And
Lamont Butler,
and he made a play. And hit an absolutely humongous shot.
We were at a restaurant when this was going on, and San Diego State got the ball, 8 seconds left, and I heard people in the bar kind of say, call timeout, and I kept saying, play it out, and then they get into the corner, I go, timeout.
Yeah.
And then Lamont Butler rose and hit biggest shot of his life, and the first Final Four buzzer beater since Chris Jenkins in the national championship game back in 2016. And it was the first buzzer beater, unless we have one tonight. It'll be the only buzzer beater of the NCAA tournament so far. So pretty legendary shot. But yeah, as you said, FAU was up 13 with about 7-8 minutes left. San Diego State's best player, Matt Bradley, hadn't really done a whole lot. He hit like 3 or 4 threes within the first 5-6 minutes, and then didn't score for like 20 some minutes up until the final 10 minutes or so of the game. Then he kind of got hot again, and San Diego State with their patented tough defense, because they gave up 40 points in the first half. They really locked in and found a way to chip away, and they just ended up going to the national championship. San Diego State. It was Florida Atlantic or San Diego State. Either way, it would have been weird.
Yep.
And it would have been even weirder had Miami won on Saturday. But UConn blew them out. I think we were all kind of expecting it to be a little bit of a better game. But UConn's just been blowing every single team out in the tourney. It's been a pretty impressive run they're on.
Yeah, it has. UConn came out and punched Miami in the mouth. And Miami, I think, got it down to 8 at one point in the second half. And then they had 2 bad possessions, and UConn stretched it, and it was pretty much over from there. But it's going to be an interesting one tonight. I think the line, the last time I saw, I think it's UConn 7.5-point favorites, I believe. At least that's what it was earlier today. No. But you're right. If San Diego State can pull this off, they're going to be the weirdest champion of our lifetime.
Yeah. I said this over the weekend, and had some people agree with me and some people not agree with me. I'm rooting for UConn. I do not want San Diego State to win a national title before like Illinois wins a national title, or even for your guys' case, Purdue wins a national title. I know that's not how it works, and that's not how the world works, but that's how my brain works. But San Diego State didn't have the easiest run. I know a lot of people were picking Charleston, including myself.
Me too.
And you to beat them in round 1, and then they had to play. They did get the benefit of playing Furman in the round of 32, but then they had to play Alabama, who was number 1 overall seed in the Sweet 16, and then a hot Creighton team in the Elite 8. So, obviously, they're a really good basketball team, and especially after what they went through during the COVID year. They started that year 26-0. I don't remember what their record was when things shut down, but they were one of the top teams in the country that season, and they found themselves back this year, and now they're in the national title game. Who would have thought?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say it's not like Florida Atlantic, who this was only the second time they've ever made the NCAA tournament going on this run. San Diego State not only had that good year going in 2020 before COVID shut things down, 2019, 2020, but they were also good when Kawhi Leonard was there. Steve Fisher had multiple teams that were pretty good. So, they're a very respectable program. It's just they're the first Mountain West team ever to make Final Four and then, of course, make the national championship. So, good for the Mountain West, though. That conference can need the money.
I wonder if this propels the Pac-12 to make a run at them.
You would think. Why not? They're respectable enough in football, and you go to the Pac-12, your recruiting is going to get boosted by going to a bigger conference. So
they have a decent history in both football and basketball. That's where
Marshall Faulk
played, right? And Tony Gwynn played basketball and baseball at San Diego State. Of course, Steven Strasburg baseball. So they have respectable sports programs. It's a big market. Seems like it makes all the sense in the world for the Pac-12 to kind of make a run at them. And I think having a Final Four bid, a national championship bid here for San Diego State only helps their cause.
And then UConn, and I'll go on record, I'm rooting for San Diego State tonight. It is frustrating as a Purdue fan, Illinois fan, to think San Diego State might win a national title before our programs, who have had a lot more success, and even recently, besides the COVID year, I guess, for San Diego State. But I don't know. I don't. UConn, I think you got to call them a blue blood, is if they win tonight.
Yeah.
They're kind of sleeping dynasty of our lifetime. and I'm just never been a big fan. I don't know why.
Yeah. They have won more titles than anyone in the past this century, right?
Yeah.
They've won 3, and this will be their 4th if they win tonight. Dan Hurley's a heck of a basketball coach, and I think he's going to actually continue to propel them up, unlike Kevin Ollie, who won one and then tapered off and then completely tanked. Good program, and they had some down years towards the end of Jim Calhoun and then towards the end of Kevin Ollie, but Dan Hurley, his first 2 years was a little struggle there at UConn, but he's really built this thing into a juggernaut, and they were arguably playing better than anyone heading into the NCAA tournament, and they carried it over for sure.
Yeah, this would be their fourth national championship since 2000, and it would be their 5th since 98, I believe, 99, 98, 99. And Duke's won 3 since 2000.
Okay.
Because they won in 01, 2010, and 2015. I believe it was 2015, whichever year it was in Indianapolis last. I think that was 2015.
Yeah, when Duke beat Wisconsin.
Yes, because then the kids Duke beat.
Well, I mean, it was technically in Indianapolis 2 years ago, but
yeah,
was,
true.
So.
Because Duke also beat Butler in 2010, and 01 they beat Arizona. But we'll see. Should be a good game. I wish it came on. This is why I'm really jealous of you that you're living in Central Time and not Eastern Time, because it doesn't come on until 9:20 Eastern Time. I mean, it's not as long as the college football national championship, but at least the college football committee listened to all the fans complaining, moved their game up an hour this year.
Yeah.
I wish college basketball would do the same and started at 8:20 Eastern Time or 7:20 Central Time, but it is what it is.
I'm gonna still have a really hard time staying up for the whole.
I know. I will not be staying up to watch one shiny moment. I have in years past because I want to see how Purdue's going to be featured. I know how they're going to be featured this year, so I do not want to watch it.
Yeah, that just ripped the Band-Aid off again.
Yeah, it's all right. It's after a couple of weeks, you have to come to terms with it and move on, and it helps when Zach Edey's won every national award there is, including the Naismith, which was Purdue's first Naismith winner since Glenn the Big Dog Robinson. So good for him, well deserved. And now we'll see what decision he makes in the next coming weeks and months as he goes through the draft process.
To enter the NBA draft, I think you have to put your name in by May 12th, I think, and then you have to withdraw by, I believe, May 31st.
Okay.
So could be a while before you hear, because Terrence Shannon has not even announced he's going yet, which we all assume he's going to put his name in.
Right.
Coleman Hawkins has put his name in for Illinois, but
yep.
So it might be a few weeks before you hear anything on Edey, and of course you'll hear before, or you'll hear rumors anyway on the message boards of what's going to happen.
Yeah, he did say he's going to go through the process, and he told the media asking the other day he's not leaning one way or the other right now. He'll get the feedback, weigh his options, because he said he has 2 good options either way. So
yeah, that's true. Other Big Ten basketball news before we make our national championship pick. Big news out of Ann Arbor as Hunter Dickinson has put his name into the transfer portal.
See ya. Bye.
So long.
Bye.
I saw today that Maryland hired his high school basketball coach as an assistant, and they're really close. So Maryland's been getting some buzz. Duke's gotten some buzz as well.
Georgetown's got some buzz.
Yeah, I believe he's an East Coast kid, so that makes sense.
He's from the Washington, D.C. area. So that's why Maryland and Georgetown are getting buzz too.
Maybe he wants to go home and play his final year of college basketball. Can't really fault the guy, but Michigan's looking like they could be one of the worst teams in the Big Ten next year. They're losing Jet Howard, Jawan's son, and then as well as Kobe Buffkin, who put his name into the NBA draft and is not coming back, it sounds like.
Doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me at all. You just hate to see it.
I mean, they're really good at football. Again, I mean, they've always been good at football, but they're really good as in making the playoffs now. And in basketball, they've made 2 national title games in the last decade. Decade. So they've had enough success. Knock them down a little bit. Knock them down a little bit. But we've also Jalen Hood-Schifino, Indiana's stud freshman guard, the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, put his name in the draft and hired an agent. So, I mean, per the rules, he could still come back, but I don't foresee that happening.
Yeah, every mock I've seen, he's anywhere from like 10 to 20 in
Right.
that range. So
Right.
he's gone.
Yep.
Trying to think of any other early entries in the Big Ten.
Seth Lundy is not coming back to Penn State. He
Yes,
put his name in the draft, and of course, Micah Shrewsbury is Notre Dame's new head coach, and Penn State hired VCU's head coach, whose name's escaping me right now,
Nick Rhodes,
Nick Rhodes. Thank you. So
Mike Rhodes.
Mike Rhodes, not Nick. You cut out there a little bit. I thought you said Mike.
My bad.
That's what I get for guessing on a name that ends in K. Yeah. So I don't know if he'll get drafted or not, but he's gone. There's going to be a lot of Big Ten teams that look really different come next year. Indiana's definitely going to be one of them.
Yeah, Trace Jackson Davis is gone. He's already said he's leaving, regardless.
Race Thompson's gone.
Yep.
Xavier Johnson could be gone unless he gets this waiver for like a 7th year.
There have been rumors about Caleb Love maybe coming in. Shedrick, something from Virginia. He's a big guy. Some big transfer portal news today out of Waco. LJ Cryer has put his name. He was one of the better guards in the Big 12. And then out of Oral Roberts, Max Absmus, who averaged over 20 points a game for ORU this past season. The past 4 seasons, really, he's averaged 20 points a game. Put his name in, so he's going to try to play some big-time college ball. Transfer portal's just getting crazier and crazier each and every year. Illinois lost 4 guys now total. As RJ Melendez put his name in today, which I kind of predicted over the weekend. He was going to. It's not a surprise at all. It's all about. I mean, that's the way it is now. You lose guys, you gain some guys. So, the things that I find incredibly stupid are people putting together top 25 lists, early top 25 for next basketball season that no one knows. Like even Joe Lunardi put out his top 16 seeds.
Sure, he did. Yeah.
During the NIT for next year, he has no idea.
No.
It was just ESPN was probably pushing it on him. But
can't start that stuff till June or July.
Even September at this point.
Right. You're probably just saying that because a lot of them have Northwestern ranked in top 25. So
I saw one today that did not have Northwestern in it, but is the object of my ire. It just
Purdue has not been impacted by the portal yet. Brandon Newman's the one that would not shock me. It would not shock me if he goes to Notre Dame, to be honest. He and Micah Shrewsbury are really close. So, whereas Shrew's close with a lot of those Purdue guys, especially that junior class, because he was still at Purdue at the time when they came in. But we'll see. I don't know. And I think he's one. If he left, there would be no hard feelings. I think his relationship with Purdue is really good. Mm-hmm. But Purdue will try to add a guard, point guard / combo guard, somebody that can hopefully create their own shot. Matt Painter was interviewed by Andy Katz today, or over the weekend, but was posted today on Twitter, and he was talking about the loss, and he's talking about how the program's had a lot of success the last 5 years. They've been seeded well in the Big Ten or the NCAA tournament, had some Big Ten championships, Big Ten tournament championship. But he said, unfortunately, when we get into March, we keep losing to similar teams the same kind of way. Mm-hmm. And he addressed that quickness is a need. And what I liked in the interview, he said about 8 years ago, we were struggling as a program, and we went back to the drawing board and kind of laid out as a foundation what we wanted. So I'm kind of what I'm kind of hearing is he's got to maybe change his recruiting strategy up a little bit. I mean, still probably try to grab similar guys as to what he has been, but also try to go after quickness at the same time.
Mm-hmm. So. I wonder if for the past 8-9 years, they've had a guy 7'2" or taller. I wonder if he starts going more athletic at the post, guys who could shoot the ball as well from the outside. Kind of a different style, kind of like a Jawan Johnson type. Yeah, where he switched to the big bruisers.
Well, they have one. William Berg redshirted this year. He's 7'1", but he's very skinny. He can shoot outside. But he stress fracture in his foot out the next 4 months, which kills his development because now he won't be able to go with the team over in Europe this summer and play. So who knows? I mean, that I don't know. That just really hurts a kid that's redshirted and practiced all year and looking to grow his development. So we'll see. But yeah, and he mentioned, Carson Edwards, Jaden Ivey were 2 guys that could create their own shot, had some quickness. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I just hope they land. I hope they land somebody earlier this year than they did last year because they took took a swipe at quite a few guards and came up short last year before David Jenkins Jr., who fit in just fine, eventually came in. So, yep, the world of the portal and NILs, something still trying to get used to. Another program in Indiana, Butler, now is down to just 5 remaining players on their team as of today.
Which I'm sure, Thad retired back. I mean, it was 6 years ago now, and the game has changed so much. And one of the reasons why he retired is he didn't like the recruiting process all that well. Well, now you're going to have to recruit even extra hard to even just keep guys on your roster, which he's already seen guys leave. The team was terrible though, so he was probably just kind of pushing those guys out, and he can bring some of his own guys in. But be interesting to see how long Thad wants to continue to do that already,
especially if they don't start winning.
Yeah.
I don't know. Butler's interesting. They're in an interesting spot.
Yeah, they had a lot of success in the Horizon, and where else were they for a season or two, or did they go straight from? They were in the Atlantic 10, I believe, for a year or two, and then the Big East. They've had some decent years in the Big East, but they're gonna really struggle now that the landscape has completely changed.
Yep. Yep, it not only impacts the mid-majors, it'll impact some of the smaller Power 6 schools too.
Yeah. Going back to the national title, we kind of went off.
That's all right.
Who you got?
I want San Diego State to win, but I think UConn will win. I'm going, let's go 77-69.
Yeah, I don't know if San Diego State has the athletes, and I don't think they'll be able to score with them. So I am also taking UConn to win their fourth. Sonogo for UConn's an absolute beast. They have good guards as well. Dan Hurley's a heck of a basketball coach, especially offensively against this great defense. And I think UConn gets her done.
Booking it?
Saving my booker for you-know-who tonight.
Oh yeah. How did I not foresee that coming? That's a blunder on one of the co-host parts here.
I almost did, and then I got somebody to book.
Yeah, that's very true. You definitely do. So, but college basketball comes to an end tonight. Hard to believe it, but at the same time, I'm ready for it at the end, so I don't have to stress.
I'm kind of glad it's coming to an end.
I enjoyed the season more than I didn't, and it's such on a sour note for me. I'm ready to just get it over with and move on to the off season. So, well, I got some word association for you that there's some college basketball in it. There's actually athletes all over the place. Let's get the banner up here. And my dad provided this list, so I cannot take credit for it, but it is
a list coming through again.
It's a list of athletes that are known for just one performance, one play, or a very short period of surprising play. It's kind of one-hit wonders. Mm-hmm. Let's start with basketball and Jeremy Lin.
Jeremy Lin had like an unbelievable 2-week stretch.
Insanity.
I will never forget that. 2012, like early 2012, he did it. And he hung around in the NBA for a while, even after that, which that kind of propelled his career. He was, people kind of make fun of him and all that because he had that great stretch, but he was a really, really good basketball player at Harvard.
Yeah.
That people don't really talk about. He was a great college basketball player, but the Linsanity was the definition of insanity.
Sold a ton of jerseys during that short stretch.
Yes, he did.
This one was a college guy, Spike Albrecht.
Spike, I knew that guy was going to be on the list. Didn't do anything all year. Then had like 18 points in the first half of the national title game against Louisville.
He wasn't even hesitating either. Like he was like looking for shots and stuff. It was insane.
Gets interviewed by Aaron Andrews at halftime. Highlight of his life. He didn't do a whole lot after that either.
Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas knocked out old Mikey Tyson. Mike Tyson was one of the greatest boxers ever. I don't think he'd ever lost coming into that. Nope. And old Douglas got him.
Yep. Tracy Porter.
He was a decent defensive back out of Indiana, and but he's definitely known for ending the Super Bowl in 2010. picking off Peyton Manning and running back for a touchdown.
I called that night, by the way.
You did? I remember that.
just to kind of PO our friends that are IU and Colts fans. Because we were rooting for the Saints. But he also had a game-stealing pick six at my first Denver Bronco home game. And Peyton Manning's first game against Steelers. He picked off Ben Roethlisberger to end the game.
Huh?
Yeah, for a year or two. Yeah, 2012, 2013. I think maybe just 2012. He wasn't too bad. But that was definitely his highlight of his Broncos career was that week one. Speaking of Broncos, Tim Tebow.
Timmy, the Dolphins got his career started.
They did.
They blew a pretty big lead, and Tebow ended up winning it. That was worse than Linsanity. That was just the absolute worst. I hated every single second of that. He was a terrible quarterback that they found ways to win, and it was awful. And then they got exposed by the New England Patriots, where I think Brady threw more touchdowns. Well, there was some stat. He threw more touchdowns than Tebow had completions or something like that, or pretty close.
It was a whooping. It was a whooping. His last NFL career passing touchdown came to the late Demaryius Thomas against the Steelers in the wild card round.
Okay.
So that's kind of what he's remembered for, I guess, in his pro career. That's what my dad was pointing to. But college career, he's one of the best of all time. But
for sure.
Pro career, like I always say, Curtis Painter changed NFL history because he was so bad that the Colts got the number one pick and decided to move on from Peyton Manning, and Peyton became a Bronco and changed, and Luck became a Colt, and it changed NFL history. Because if Curtis was any better, they wouldn't have. They'd probably keep Manning. Tebow would have still been in Denver, and who knows what happens from there. So.
Yep.
David Tyree.
Helmet catch.
Oh, yeah.
Was not a good receiver at all. Didn't really do a whole lot in his career, but one of the most well-known plays in the history of sports, regardless of sport.
Mm-hmm. Still can't figure out how he caught the ball and came down with it, but
I know it
happens. Malcolm Smith.
Who is Malcolm Smith?
Linebacker for the Seahawks that was Super Bowl 48 MVP against the Broncos.
Yeah, he was obviously unbelievable in that game.
He was. He had that pick six. That ball got batted up in the air, and
he was the an underrated or unknown part of that unbelievable defense there.
Yes.
Bobby Wagner. He was the other guy.
Because if you ask the average Joe who Seahawks Super Bowl MVP was Super Bowl 48, they're going to say Russell Wilson or Richard Sherman or Bobby Wagner, maybe even, or Earl Thomas. You know, I could go on and on. Not Malcolm Smith. But.
Yeah.
Dallas Braden.
Pitched perfect game on Mother's Day, I believe it was, against. Who was that against? I don't remember who it was against. He was terrible though. He was not a good pitcher.
Brady Anderson.
Steroids.
50 bombs 1 year out of nowhere.
That is the only logical explanation for why he did what he did.
One guy I was going to put on the list, but for some reason I thought he hit more in my head than he did was Brett Boone. I thought Boone hit like 51, but it was 37.
Oh.
But for the Mariners. And then he had 37, and then 2 years later he had 32. But that was the only time he was in the 30 club in his career. He had 253, and 2 of those years made up a good decent amount of that.
He was a meathead.
Yes, he was a juicer. 2 more here. Jerome Watson for his 30-game hitting streak.
I've never heard that name before.
I didn't either. That's why he put 30-game hitting streak, I think, here in the
Jerome
text.
Watson.
So, and lastly, John Hart.
What? Was he thinking Jerome Walton, maybe?
Walton. I said Watson. Walton.
Okay.
Walton. Sorry, read it wrong.
A former Cubby. Also wasn't very good, but he did have 30-game hit streak.
And John Hart.
Next. No comment.
That's the last one. That was just for a good chuckle there. That was
no
a good
comment.
chuckle. But that is the word association segment for this week's episode. It's brought to you by, like it is every week, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for a trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company today by giving Barbara Van Wyn Weinsberg a call at 574-210-3815, or you can email her at barbara.vanweinsberg@proforma.com.
Do you want to be educated?
I always need educated.
On this day in 1966, Tom Seaver signed with the Mets for a reported $50,000 bonus.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's a bargain there.
Yeah, now it is.
On this day in 1987, the Chicago Cubs traded Dennis Eckersley to the Oakland Athletics for 3 minor leaguers. And Eckersley turned into a superstar closer with the Oakland A's.
Louisiana Lightning.
Yeah, he was a pretty good starter with the Cubs and with the Red Sox before that. But his career kind of took off when he became closer. On this day in 1988, Mario Lemieux wins NHL scoring title, stopping Gretzky's 7-year streak.
Mario was a stud for the Penguins. Was really good. Then got cancer, so he had to take some time off. Came back, picked it up like he never left. Then I think he retired, and then he came back again and was pretty decent. And got into management and ownership at one time with the Penguins, or at least management. Maybe he wasn't owner, maybe he was just GM. So hockey legend for sure. Yeah, I think of when I think of Pittsburgh Penguins, I think of him and Sidney Crosby right away.
Mm-hmm. On this day in 1989, who won the men's basketball national championship, and also who was named tournament most outstanding player?
89.
This one's painful for me.
Was it Michigan?
It was Michigan.
Glenn Rice?
Glenn Rice, you got her. On this day in 1991, Bo Jackson signed a 1-year contract with the Chicago White Sox.
One of the greatest athletes of all time, if not the greatest athlete of all time.
He owns a big sports complex that I can pretty much see from my house.
Ever been to it?
I've not been to it.
Okay.
On this day in 1995, who won the men's basketball championship?
Was that Arkansas? Or were they 94?
They were the runner-up that year. Who beat Arkansas is the question now.
UNLV?
It was UCLA.
Oh.
I did not know UCLA won a title in the 90s.
That was the year they hit the buzzer beater against Missouri in the first or second round.
Gotcha.
In Boise, Idaho, I believe. Because I remember, the only reason I remember that is one of the March Madness games. You had to do this, like, historic moments in the NCAA tournament, and that was one of them you had to play.
On this day in 2000, who won the men's basketball championship?
2000 was Michigan State Spartans over to Florida Gators.
It was. They were the only top 4 seed to make the Final Four that year.
The Final Four was also Wisconsin and North Carolina. Florida beat North Carolina, Michigan State beat Wisconsin, because Wisconsin beat Purdue in the Elite Eight. Or Purdue would have been in the Final Four in Indy against Michigan State if they would have won that. Who they beat during the regular season. So.
Yeah, that, as you said earlier, was in Indianapolis, and I remember we went down to the Final Four when I was a kid, just to do all the activities. It was really cool, but I remember watching Florida's open practice.
Mike Miller was a stud
fun.
for Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State had Mateen Cleaves and Maurice Peterson, Mo Pete. Yep, and in Wisconsin, that was before Bo Ryan got there. In North Carolina, that was, I don't know who their head coach was. It was right before.
Birdie?
No, it was right before he took over. So,
I have no idea.
Because he never did well there. He never got to a Final Four.
Yeah. Who won in 06?
06 would have been Florida over
It was?
UCLA.
Yep. Who was MOP?
It's probably either Noah Brewer or Horford. I'll say Horford.
Noah.
Because that team was loaded, but you go ahead. Sorry.
Horford was the best
Yeah.
out of those guys.
Well, and then UCLA, you had Kevin Love. Or was he the next year? He was the next year.
Was he?
I think. Well UCLA made the Final Four three or 4 years there.
I was going to say they went back to the Final Four.
Because they had Aaron Afalo, Kevin Love, Trevor Ariza,
Jordan Farmar,
all those guys mixed in those teams.
Russell Westbrook.
Because Ben Howland got the 3 Final Fours in 4 years there. So.
Yeah. On this day in 2019, last one here, Spurs coach Greg Popovich is ejected after an NBA record low 63 seconds. He received 2 technical fouls and a verbal confrontation with a ref.
That's just not one to go to work that day.
Yeah, they've been bad for a while.
That's just like Dan Dockage claims that he knew Knight was going to do something crazy when he threw the chair against Purdue in '85.
Dockage is the biggest dummy.
I know. I know. He's something. But speaking of Bob Knight, I did see he got out of the hospital today. I didn't even know he's in the hospital, but he's not. He's not doing very good health wise. It sounds like so, which is too bad.
His arch nemesis, Gene Katie, made the Hall of Fame though.
After years and years of being on the ballot and not getting in, he finally got in, and so did Greg Popovich, the guy you just mentioned, and Paul Gasol and Dwayne Wade, Tony Parker. Long list this year, long list of guys. So but I was happy for Gene. Something cool he can do one more time. And I laughed why everybody was in suits and stuff at the Final Four. He was in a Purdue hat and Purdue shirt.
And it looked like sweatpants.
Yeah, a Hawaiian Purdue shirt at that. So he's ready to hit the golf course.
Right. Gosh, a man who wears sweatpants in those situations is a man after my own heart.
Yep, they don't care.
Women's national championship yesterday. LSU beat Iowa. And yesterday was only the 3rd national championship game played in women's college basketball history that a 1 seed was not present. They've been playing national championship games since the 70s.
Upsets just don't happen in women's basketball, collegiate basketball like they do men's for whatever reason.
Yeah. Caitlin Clark couldn't get it done. There's been a whole lot of controversy about Angela Reese or Angel, whatever her name is, celebration. No problem with it.
Nope, me neither.
Clark talks a lot of trash as well.
It's all competition, it's competitiveness. Yeah. Maybe LSU shouldn't have kept doing it as long as they did at the end, but whatever. It is what it is. I have no problem with it. It's with the world social media and anything, you can't do anything without getting criticized anymore. So.
Yeah. Is Caitlin Clark the face of Big Ten basketball right now?
She should be.
Mm-hmm. I think she is.
She should be, but I don't know. I still think if you pulled a lot of men in the country, they know who Zach Edey is over Caitlin Clark.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'd choose Clark over Edey any day of the week.
Well, she could have played big time minutes for Purdue against Fairleigh Dickinson. They needed somebody that could shoot like that. But I don't know. That's a good question. I'd be really interested to know that answer.
I know the Big Ten pushes her more than any player I've ever seen.
Well, they should. They should.
As they should.
Yep.
Any more college hoops talks before we move to something else?
No, but I will let everybody know who the Honest Day is brought to you by, and that is Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs to fit your needs, and their pieces are a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. You can see some of their recently completed projects by following them and checking out their Instagram and Facebook page at Mooney Woodcrafts is their handle on there. And if you let them know the Tan and J-Man Show sent you, you get 15% off your first order.
Baseball started on Thursday. This is the kind of the hardest I've ever had trying to get into it for whatever reason. I don't know if it's the rule changes that I just haven't been following as much, but honestly, the rule changes are really good for the sport, and I really like them for the most part. If it's the fact that Cubs are probably going to be semi-mediocre, I don't know what it is, but I've just had a hard time getting into it. Maybe it's just because I was busy over the weekend and couldn't really watch a whole lot, but I mean, you can't really say there's any surprises yet as far as teams goes because the most games teams have played is only 4 games. Around the league, though, the Texas Rangers really took it to the Philadelphia Phillies, the reigning NL champs. Phillies bullpen was atrocious all weekend. They gave up 11 runs in 3 2/3 innings on Saturday. then lost last night. So that was kind of funny. Good for Texas. Texas needed to get off to a hot start. As far as the Cubs go, they're 1-2. Offense looks atrocious. Bullpens look bad so far. They were staked. Cody Bellinger hit a 3-run homer today as we're doing this show, and then Drew Smiley comes out, gives up 3 runs back, so it's tied at 3 in the top of the second right now. I'll get there, but as of right now, I don't know what it is. I've just had a hard time getting into it, and it's really kind of been that way since Jed traded away all the guys I used to love. That's got to be it. But as far as the rule changes go with the pitch clock and all of that, I have some stats here. Through the first 4 days of MLB season, by the numbers, games played this year, there's been 50. Last year, there's 49 to this point. They have cut down 31 minutes on the average time of game. The average time of game now so far is 2 hours and 38 minutes, where last year it was 3 hours and 9 minutes. Batting average is up 15 points. On base percentage is up 15 points. Slugging percentage is up 18 points. There have been 41 more stolen bases this year than there were all of last year. And people are complaining about the pitch clock violations. There's been 40 so far, which is less than 1 a game. So these they've completely cut off dead time. And then with the shift, there's more action, more balls in play. We've already seen in this game that I'm watching right now, Eric Hosmer and who else for the Cubs wouldn't have had a hit last year if the shift was the same as it is now. The Reds probably wouldn't have scored 3 runs in that first inning had the shift not, or had the shift still be in effect. So love the rule changes so far. Hopefully it gets people to start watching the game. I'm not going to give Rob Manfred any credit because I hate that guy, but the collaborative effort with everyone else there has been good for the game so far, and I've seen 0 complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm all for the rule changes. I mean, a lot of them are going to take time to get used to, but I was one of the advocates to make the games go by a little quicker and get rid of the dead time, like you mentioned. So I'm all for that. Yankees are off to an interesting start. Aaron Judge looks good. Garrett Cole looked really good. Some other areas of the team not so much yet, but we'll see. It's early. I haven't watched a lot of baseball, to be honest, over the weekend. I just seen highlights and box scores. So
the Tampa Bay Rays are 3-0. They beat up on a horrendous Detroit Tigers team. Gave up 3 runs in 4 games. Guys took no hitters into the 6th inning. The Rays will pitch and they'll play defense, and so far they're pitching. They arguably have the best pitching staff in all of baseball. And they'll continue to do what they've done really for the better part of 12 years now, which is incredible to even think about after how bad they were when they became an expansion franchise, that they're now maybe the best run organization in baseball with the lack of attendance, lack of money. They just have to find different ways to win, and they do it every single year.
Ray Davis here on Facebook said the Sox gave up 7 homers today.
They did. Michael Kopech gave up 4 in 1 inning.
It's not going to help you win.
Usually you don't last through the inning when you give up that many in 1 inning, but I think it happened in the first inning, if I'm not mistaken.
Saw the Mets lost 10-zip today.
Yeah, Mets had been playing well. Frank the Tank was not happy today.
He's not happy when they win. So
yeah, I saw he took a road trip with another Barstool guy down to Miami.
Yep.
A 40-hour drive with Frank the Tank would be something to behold.
And if I'm as popular as Frank and sell as much merch as he does, I keep the gimmick up too, of being negative and not happy, because that's what people want to see. So.
I've heard Frank's a really nice guy too.
Yeah.
It's kind of his persona now.
Yep. It's his gimmick. He's got to throw tantrums Hey, if somebody pays me that much money to throw tantrums, I'll throw tantrums. That's right. So, Ray's had a few.
I'll start right now if you want.
I don't have a bleep button ready. Ray Davis has also commented a few other things on Facebook I'm just now seeing over here. He said Tigers at Augusta already. We'll be talking about the Masters here momentarily, but I did see that as well. He played with your boy McIlroy. He also said local high school news, Tippecanoe Valley's requested their release from the TRC, conference shakeup trickling down to high school, which is, we're seeing more and more teams realign high school conference-wise, just like we've seen it in college too, which is interesting.
Yeah, I think we're just going to continue to see that.
Yep.
There have been talks, even with going back to the transfer portal and college basketball, there have been talks of guys trying to team up to create super teams in college basketball. Super teams really hurt the NBA, in my opinion. Ratings are down. They're the lowest they've been in a long time. Of course, my numbers could be wrong due to the sources I've heard this from. But it just seems like you don't hear about the NBA nearly as much as you had in the previous couple seasons for whatever reason. And I think, they're creating super conferences, college sports. They're going to create super conferences in high school. That's the way it goes.
Well, and everybody everybody wants to say it was LeBron, Bosh, and Wade that started the super teams. And I always argue it was actually the Boston Celtics when they got Ray Allen to go with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. Mm-hmm. So that's
that was kind of the first that I can remember, because you look at the good teams in the '90s, Karl Malone and John Stockton drafted by the Jazz, Jordan Pippen drafted by the Bulls. They didn't try to go and create somewhere else, and then of course they added good pieces to that, like picking up a Dennis Rodman type. But you could call that a super team, but that wasn't them going out of their way to create a super team.
Right.
Is the thing.
Going back to baseball, any interesting series this week to watch for?
Well, I'd have to go look at the schedule real quick.
I guess I can pull it up. I got my phone right here.
Not the Cubs.
Who do the Cubs play this week?
The Cubs play the Reds, and then I think they played the Texas Rangers maybe at home over the weekend. Phillies Yankees on paper is a really good series. And
0-0 bottom of the first right now.
After starting 0-3, they need to get some wins, but that's a real tough place to go and try to do it. Giants, White Sox earlier this Braves, Cardinals is a really good series this week. Other than that, though, not in the early part of the week anyway.
Angels, Mariners could be decent.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Mariners game yesterday, and that crowd is jazzed up, juiced up, whatever you want to call it. They've been wanting good baseball for years. They got it last year, finally made the playoffs, and it felt like a playoff game in Game 3 yesterday. They when the pitch clock was winding down, they were counting 5, 4, 3, tried to throw the pitcher off its rhythm. But yeah, good for the Mariners. They're an easy team to root for.
Who else the Mariner fans are jazzed up about and want to bring back and are excited for? Sonics.
There you go. That's good.
Bring them back.
Nice little segue.
Bring them back. Well, it shows they show up for Kraken games. They show up for MLS games. Mm-hmm. And the Sonics were there in Seahawks games. And the Sonics were arguably their favorite team in the city at the time. It was just, issue over arena and some money things. And on to Oklahoma City they went.
Yeah, Oklahoma City's still a real weird NBA city for me.
Yep.
It doesn't really fit. Yeah.
It's kind of like Salt Lake City. Even though the Jazz have been to, Thunder have been to finals as well. I was going to say Jazz have been to two finals. But
the thing about the Jazz, though, is they've been there for a long time. And the Thunder just decided to move out of nowhere to Oklahoma City. They could have moved anywhere. I don't know why they didn't stay West Coast and go to Vegas.
Oklahoma City, what helped them was the year of Katrina when the Hornets had to play a lot of their games in Oklahoma City.
Right. That's right.
That kind of showed the NBA that Oklahoma City would back a team. So that's how they got him. Yep. So. Any other baseball thoughts?
No.
Got
nothing.
Well, let's talk some Masters, shall we? The premier event for all golf fans and non-golf fans, really. When you think of golf, non-golf fans probably think of the Masters right away. Comes once a year, always in April, down in Augusta, Georgia. Hard tickets to get. So if you get there, consider yourself lucky. Still on my bucket list one of these days. I want to go to a real round, though. One of the actual rounds, 1 through 4, not the practice rounds, even though I would take that over nothing. Don't get me wrong. But always look forward to this time of year. It's great to hear Jim Nance welcome everybody to Augusta with his hello friends. I know we talked about this the other day because tonight's the last time he's ever going to call a NCAA National Championship game as he's hanging it up for college basketball announcing this year. But what a tough gig to go from the National Championship down to Augusta, Georgia to call the Masters.
That's not too shabby.
No, it's not. But looking at
it is kind of cool that he's calling his last Final Four, and it's in Houston where he went to school,
where he roomed with Freddie Couples. Mm-hmm. So looking at the Masters odds, this was as of April 1st on DraftKings. Scotty Scheffler, the defending champion, and Rory McIlroy, one of the hottest golfers in the world, J-Man's guy, they were tied for the best odds to win, followed by John Rahm, then Jordan Spieth, Patrick Cantlay, Tony Finau, Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, Jason Day. I was surprised to see him have that good of odds. He's having a good season, though. Dustin Johnson, so there's one of your live guys right there. Colin Morikawa, Cameron Smith, another live guy. Max Homa, Cameron Young, Will Zalatoris. I could go on and on. But a couple live names. Tiger Woods is at plus 7,000. Bryson DeChambeau plus 9,000. Where is Phil Mickelson at? He's got to be way down on the list. Phil Mickelson is at plus 30,000 odds to win, which is not very good.
He's been playing terrible.
He has been playing very bad, but he's getting paid very well. Then you got guys on the senior tour like Vijay Singh, Sandy Lyle, Larry Mize, Jose Maria Albathaba with plus, oh my gosh, how many zeros is that? I believe that's plus 500,000 odds. So, no, that's 500,000. Yeah, because Phil was plus 30,000. Yeah.
Where was Rory at?
Rory's at the tied for the best at plus 700 to win.
Yeah, you bet he is.
Best tight, which it's always interesting because Rory's, he was the Faction Cup champ last year. He's been playing well this year, but Augusta's the one thing he hasn't done, and everybody knows it. He knows it. It's can he handle the pressure, which I think he had a top 5 finish there last year, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of got hot late. But it's usually the Saturday that kills him there. So
not this year, buddy.
Not this year. You got to book it?
We'll see.
We'll see.
What is your personal favorite Masters tournament?
Man, that's a good one. There's been a lot of good ones. I enjoyed the one, I think it was 2010, one of Phil's victories. He hit one from the pine straw in this gap of a tree like this on the par 5 over the creek. That was a fun one to watch. Tiger's had a lot. I'm not a big Tiger Woods fan, but he's had a lot of great moments, especially in 2019 when he won. I'm always peed at the year Jordan or Patrick Reed won, which is 2018, because if he misses putt on the last hole, Ricky Fowler gets in the playoff. So, which Ricky's not in it for the third straight year. He was close, but you have to do certain things to get in or be top 50 in the world, and he was 59th. So he's playing better though. He needs to find a way to get into the other 3 majors this year and see if he can do some damage. But he's playing better, but always bummed when he can't play because he plays well at Augusta. That's why it's a bummer being a Fowler fan. But a lot of good memories at the Masters. A lot of good, incredible shots. A lot of guys too that are one-hit wonders. I could have put some Masters winners in that one-hit wonders list, but I wasn't going to do that.
Who was that one the year Spieth choked? Was that a year Spieth choked?
Yeah, it was Danny Willett, and he was a one-hit wonder.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a one-hit wonder. So I forgot about that guy. To be honest, I don't even see him on the list. I'm sure he's in the field if he's healthy. But it's going to be interesting this year now that the LIV Tour, has been around for a year, and their guys, or the ones that are qualified to, are playing. It'll just be interesting to see how the TV networks cover them this week too. How much do they show them? So if a guy's in contention Sunday, you got to show him. So, if Koepka or Dustin or Cameron Smith or DeChambeau get in the mix, you got to cover them. So, or Phil, but Phil's not going to be in the mix. That would be a heck of a story, but he's not going to be in the mix. So
yeah, he's been shooting like 80, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's not. He's been struggling, and Cameron Smith packed 2 different outfits for every day. One set has LIV logo on it, his team logo for Live because they have teams. The other one doesn't. He says nobody's told him yet that he can't wear it. So we'll see come Thursday.
Is Cameron Smith the one who won the British last year?
Yes, he did. And he was knocking on the door every week. And then it was a horrible kept secret that he was going to be going.
Yeah.
He kind of batted around the bush when they were asking him in the press conference that week. So, and actually, Cameron Smith is my pick to win the Masters. I have to pick a Live guy because that was one of my bold predictions for 2023 was the Live guy would win the Masters, and I feel like his game's in the best shape to do it right now.
If you were to not have to pick a Live guy, who would you take?
Yeah, I know we on Facebook, I put it out there, and good friend of the show, Dan Munson, from down in the Tampa, Florida region, he picked Jordan Spieth, which is always a safe pick, especially if Jordan can get the putter rolling. But looking at the guys here, if I would actually take Cameron Young. He's a young guy on tour. He's been in the contention in some of the majors, but hasn't won one yet. But I like the way he's been playing, so I would take Cameron Young.
It's time.
Is it time? For what year in a row we started? So the first Masters we covered would have been 2017. So for the sixth straight year, I guess.
I would say I wonder when my string of always booking Rory started for every major or every even tournament. It
was a while. It's been a while. I mean, that's why we got a T-shirt. That's why we got a T-shirt on TannonJManShow store.com. So.
This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Rory gets done and he completes the career Grand Slam. He finally does it. The J-Man's curse is very real, but I feel
it's very real.
I feel like it's gonna happen eventually, and this is when it's gonna happen. And you know what? That'd be a nice little middle finger to the Live Tour guys too. And I'm sure the PGA is hoping upon hope that Rory wins it.
He is the spokesman and the face of the tour aside from Tiger Woods, and he's been outspoken about his dislike of Live and everything. Yeah. So it would be very interesting. It would be interesting to see him in a Koepka or a Cam Smith or somebody, or Dustin Johnson in the final group.
Yeah. J-Man's Book It Prediction of the Week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com.
Looking forward to watching the Masters, and I'll have a little recap on it next week.
Yeah, I tend to watch the final round of each major.
Yeah,
usually at least the final couple holes. I mean, if it's a blowout, then I'm not gonna.
Sure. Usually Augusta, you don't see anybody really run away with it.
Yeah,
and really,
what's the largest margin of victory at a Masters tournament?
That's a great question. I do not know off the top of my head, but I will look it up and have it for you next week. And as they say about the Masters. Yes, you should have. The tournament doesn't start till the back nine on Sunday. That's always the old saying. So,
yep. Yeah, and a potential first time winner has a small lead that back nine. Yep. Man, I'm sure their legs start going numb.
Going in the water on 12 on the par 3. That's what got Tiger back in it in 2019. Francisco Molinari hit one that hit the bank and went in the water and opened the door. So,
yep.
Book it. Read that birdie or bogey for me one more time, please.
Bogey. Dan Hurley or Brian Dutcher will become the fourth head coach in the last 20 seasons to win a title within their first 4 NCAA tournament appearances with a school. Can you name the other 3?
All right. I'm going to take a stab at this first guy here. Tubby Smith?
Incorrect. Did he go to, or did he win a title in the past 20 years?
Oh, shoot. 20 years. I'm an idiot. I thought it was 30 because he won one at Kentucky.
Yeah.
20 years. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see here. I've got to go back in my head here. Who's all won them? Kevin Ollie.
Correct.
Should have had this ready in my head. Gosh, I'm choking like a dog here. choking like a dog. I don't think that guy. I think that guy was there longer than 4 years when he won it. Oh my gosh. Bill Self?
Nope.
Jeez. Roy Williams?
Roy Williams was one. Carolina.
I've got the red light syndrome going. My brain's frozen. I can't.
Don Calipari at Kentucky, 2012.
Yep. Oh, I deserve a big old fat bogey. That's fitting.
And you're gonna get one too. So thanks for watching.
That's embarrassing.
Everyone. The Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll be back at it next Monday. See you, everybody.